Hey Gemini, welcome to your full moon reading. My name is Dee and welcome to CatalystEnergies. I'm so grateful that you're here. This report is for the full moon in Leo, and it's for Gemini sun, moon, and rising specifically. So when we talk to Gemini, when we're talking about Gemini and we're talking about the full moon, that means we got 20 degrees Leo for the moon, 20 degrees Aquarius for the sun, and that is in the 3rd and 9th houses. The moon will be in the is currently in the 3rd house, actually, today, of Gemini. And the sun has been traveling through Aquarius through the 9th house. And so this is the opposition between what we know, how we're educated about how to move through the world, how we communicate with ourselves, how we communicate with other people. It's our very basic education. And then the 9th house is what we believe. It is our understanding of the world around us. It is the big picture. It is the truth, that we are seeking in the 9th house. And so for Gemini, the Aquarius going through, the sun going through the 9th house, having Aquarius be the 9th house, belief system very much based on, in the mind, what we know specifically with Aquarius, and it's having a wider context in order to understand things. And so the Aquarian energy is very much innovative and outside the box and very unique, and it's looking at it's seeing things from a perspective that's off planet, out of material reality, and is also the person that sees that we're all one and the same, and is using that keen intellect and that knowing and that very laser focus in order to be bring the compassion and bring the water to the community. Aquarius is the water bearer. So for Gemini, with already a person that is very much lives in the mind, lives in the realm of ideas and thoughts and communication, and just curious about every possibility from a mental perspective. It can think up anything. What you believe, it makes sense that it's part of still what happens in the mind, but in a very focused way that's very much futuristic and not very mundane at all for Gemini. And so this also has to do with foreign travel and higher education. It's about mastery, and it's about teaching wisdom in the 9th house. And so Geminis use their mental power, their comfortability within this realm of ideas, and really put it to use in terms of not only believe it what they believe, but passing that on to others from a very high-minded, third eye opened perspective. So that would leave Leo, which is where the full moon is going to be, in your 3rd house, and this is very much about the education of basic reality for all of us. The 3rd house, it's how we communicate. It's grammar school. It's how we learn the language. We learn the basics. We learn how to interact with each other based on our immediate family scenarios, whatever that looks like. It's about how we learn to get through life. It's the basic, social norms that we adhere to in order to eventually get to the point where we do understand enough to have a belief system. But at 3rd house, and so for Gemini, 3rd house is really, in Leo, you really seem to have a propensity towards your communication being very, very confident, very verbose, very much about sharing the nature of your heart, which is great for Gemini because you are certainly already very comfortable with the essence of who you are, being about the realm of ideas and thoughts and communication and concepts, really, language. And so to be able to the realm where you express that in the 3rd house, like how you communicate and the ideas that you do use, is very much about being being out there, heart open, sharing yourself fully. This is where you are passionate to create, and this is where you want to not so much you're not driven so much as you just are. You just are this person, and it's very youthful and playful, and very leader. There's a lot of leadership quality here in this communication zone for Gemini. So the moon is going to be fully illuminated, so things that usually are under the surface within our feelings and our unconscious are really going to be shown. And so Geminis are really going to be shown like their leadership qualities and their confidence and this desire to share themselves within how they communicate, what kind of ideas that they entertain, like what kind of information are you allowing in, and that informs how you understand things later. So on top of that, you have Mercury now moving into the 10th house. Yes, the 10th house of your career. And so Gemini, the career that Geminis tend to gravitate towards, whatever that is, your public legacy, your public persona, the institutionalized power that you have within the group, because of what you have to offer and what you're building, is very much about this realm of compassion and love and inspiration and beauty, and the realm of the divine, really, the realm of going back to source. It's kind of taking yourself away from the social life and cultivating the self within, going within. And Mercury's now going here, and it's going to go retrograde here for Geminis, and being able, and there's been a lot of power here with Neptune really stimulating this for Geminis, this being this creative person, being able to bring the thoughts and ideas to some sort of very inspired and creative fruition, like that, or healing as well, healing and going into the realms that are beyond boundary. And now that Mercury's come here, I think that there's going to be certainly an opportunity to be inspired, but it's going to be very confusing for everybody because it's going to go retrograde soon. And I think that with Geminis in particular, where your career is, where it's going, it's already felt elusive. You kind of have an idea of what's going on, but at the same time, and there's a real talent and skill here for being able to collectivize people, bringing all these different facets together into one organic system that like flows very naturally. And this is where Neptune has been really enhancing this ability for Gemini in your career zone, but it also, now that Mercury's here, the messages are going to come in, but they're not going to be very clear. But I think for Geminis, they're actually going to be, I wouldn't say quite clear, but I would say it's going to be very nurturing. You also have Venus now moving into Aries, and Aries is the 11th house. This is your social networks, this is your organizations, this is your social media, like audience, whatever that means to you. It's the community that you're part of. And for Geminis, it's very much based in the idea of potential creation, potential action. Like, look at all the possibilities of what we can create in this zone of like our collective and our community, like on a broader perspective. And Chiron's in this zone for everybody, and will be for till 2026, really stimulating this wound. And so for Geminis, this very basic wound of, am I good enough? If I just keep doing this, I will be good enough, I'll be worthy, is in this social zone. And so Gemini really paying attention to where Venus is going to come around and kind of give voice to that and give an opportunity to like resolve it somehow, or at least create something beautiful and meaningful out of that situation. So Gemini, the focus seems to be really to be willing to feel. So we got the Queen of Cups, first of all. So I think with Mercury going into Pisces in retrograde, it's going to come back out for a little bit into Aquarius, which is your 9th house of what you believe. But I think that you're really getting stimulated and healed from a very deep emotional level about what is it that you want. And you are the Queen of Cups in some ways, regardless of your gender identity in or physical sex, whatever. In terms of your internal frequency, like there is a Queen of Cups energy here because it's all water in Pisces, and who you show up as, the career that you have, is to be this person that is enveloping people emotionally and spiritually and like with total compassion and forgiveness. And And this is your career. This is what you are meant to leave behind as a legacy, is this energy. And I think that you're really getting a sense of what this is. Now, this is an interesting card, the Two of Keys. It's called the Treasure. And if you look at it closely, you can see that this person's room has been overturned, like somebody's looking for something, and he's pretty appalled and distraught. But you see this light overhead, this lantern, and it's really pointing to the idea that the treasure is not necessarily something that you can physically find. It's something that's within you, and this is the very beginning of the keys suit, the physical material suit. So where's Capricorn for you, Gemini? Well, that's in your 8th house. That's in your shared resources. And it's been getting overhauled big time with all of the stellium in Capricorn, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in the South Node. And soon Mars is going to be here, and that's, Mars loves to be in Capricorn. So productive and industrious. And so, but I think there's some confusion about where the treasure really is for you. And Mercury, rather than being confusing for you, since you, I feel like it's really going to just pull you into it's going to be louder. Let's just put it that way. It's going to be a louder message that you can't really ignore in this zone of your 10th house and what your career is. And it's certainly going to, Chiron's definitely giving you an opportunity to resolve this woundedness around how you show up in the context of your community. Like, what's your role within the collective, whatever that looks like for you. And I think that you're looking for something outside of yourself, and Gemini, it's the treasure that you're looking for that has been, your whole life has probably been overturned trying to find it, is really within you. It is a light within you, and that is really what the sun represents in Leo specifically. And this is your 3rd house. This is how you communicate. Now, the animal message is it's time to strike out on your own and relinquish your over-dependency on others. You don't really need anybody else to give you this treasure. You know what I mean? Like, it's within you. And Mercury in retrograde is really going to show you how much it's within you, because you are here to really leave that legacy of compassion and forgiveness behind for everybody. It's what you're building in this lifetime in order to be part of the larger structure of how the institution, and since we're also in a place of major evolution right now, everything's being overhauled, especially for Gemini. That 8th, the Capricorn energy is the 8th house of intimacy, shared resources. You don't like, you're very serious and very ambitious and very industrious when it comes to these shared resources. Absolutely. And it's being completely overhauled right now for you, and what that means. And I think that this here is a really good indication of that. The Two of Keys showing you that it's not those resources that you share and create in partnership with others, which, Mars has been going through that zone, and is about to hit the galactic center in just a matter of days, actually. It's within you. It's absolutely within you, and that's how you're able to be this Queen of Cups in terms of your career, in terms of your ability to show compassion and forgiveness. You don't have to be such a boss and so industrious and one-track minded when it comes to resources, because it's all within you. It's not necessarily out there, and the resources you share with other people, are not necessarily out there. They're within here. But it's going to be really important that you're able to maintain some level of individuality within the context of your groups in order to realize this. And this is where the wound in Chiron in your 11th house of social networks is really going to continue to bring this back around, because Aries is very individualized. It's very much about the seed point of the individual. It's about the individual seed itself, And Venus is going to come along and kind of highlight that in a way that allows us to at least build something beautiful out of it. But part of that is going to be able to realize that you yourself are your own person and with potential in the context of these groups, whatever your networks are for Gemini. But you have everything you need within you, and you have access to you know, this really beautiful, inspiring, creative, loving energy, and that's part of your career. Like, who you're meant to be is this Queen of Cups, really. You just have to believe that you have everything in you. Absolutely. And so it's going to come through the realm of ideas, how you communicate. The moon is going to be bringing that up there. And it's all about, for you, your third house is Leo. So it's all about how you communicate, how you express yourself through ideas, through communication, through learning, really. So Gemini, you have everything you need within you, absolutely. And so have a wonderful full moon. Geminis, I would absolutely take advantage of it to be writing, to be blogging, to be vlogging, to communicate, to learn, to mesh yourself in ideas in order to realize that that's where you're, that's where you truly represent yourself and are able to shine. So Leo, thank you for joining me. Gemini, thank you for joining me. Description box below, that's where all the information is. Facebook is the hub. That's where you can find out where all the different platforms that I post on, and you can also book a reading with me there. Leo, write in your journal, find a way to communicate, express yourself through your ideas with this full moon. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.